topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to my radio and TV show, Debbie Changes Lives. I'm Debbie, your certified holistic health coach. I revitalize people's lives by helping them identify the root cause of their health issues and create a custom, natural, holistic strategy to address them in the areas of mind, body, and soul. As a health coach, I'm not allowed to say that I heal, treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any diseases. I certainly can make your body more efficient by reducing symptoms. You'll feel better, be more productive, and enjoy life more. Not many people have you can put up my new slide. Not many people have released 70 pounds, had health transformation. Go back one slide, and kept their weight off for over 10 years. I have staying power. I even became a half marathon runner, even though I never ran my whole entire life. Mindset is the key to lasting change. Now go to the next slide. As a certified holistic health coach, I revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. I guide them to clean, toxic-free foods and high-quality essential nutrients. My coaching is for optimizing your health, releasing weight efficiently if needed, and enhancing your mindset. You will see and feel the differences with my coaching programs. Ask me about my programs on my complimentary consultation button of my link tree, which is at Debbie Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives, as in Victory, ES.com/Linktree, LINKTREE. And when you do that, I'll guide you to a better, healthier life. Now, mindset is everything. Your thoughts, feelings, and emotions drive your actions and results. Some can be bad, some can be good. That's why it's really important to have a positive mindset to lead a successful life. I've always tell people it's really important to release those negative emotions of fear, frustration, and doubt because they are really low vibrational energies. They'll slow you down and stop you, like a ballast in a balloon sinking and then landing. I help people release their emotions, stress, and entanglements from the past so that balloon can lift back up to a happier life. Today, I have Sohail Shakeri, who is an executive business consultant, a professor, and a Harvard author. He has taught philosophies, humanities, and religious studies at various colleges and universities. His acclaimed course is The Mystical Path of Rumi that he offered at the California Institute of Human Sciences. You can reach out to Professor Shakeri's wellness work at sacredpoweredmedicine.com and for his consulting, conscious consulting work for corporate professionals at consciousnessconsultants.org. Recently, Sohail was a panelist for a Science of Consciousness conference at the University of Arizona in Tucson, where he spoke about meditation and global spiritual practices alongside Deepak Chopra. That is so cool. So today we'll be discussing expanding consciousness and enlightenment. So let's welcome Sohail Shakeri, executive business consultant, professor, and Harvard author. Sohail, welcome to my show.
Thank you so much, Debbie. It's really a pleasure and an honor to be with you.
It was an honor for you to be here too, for me. So how do we expand into enlightenment?
Yeah. So with enlightenment, there's this one notion that has permeated our society for hundreds of years, really going back to post-Renaissance thinkers from Western Europe. And that is still prevalent not only in the Western world today, but essentially all over the world. And what I'd like to do before I speak about how to expand into enlightenment is for everyone to get an idea, get a sense of what enlightenment is not. And so, yes,
Oh, you froze.
of having sophisticated and clever intellect. We think of the age of enlightenment, right? So like when I was in school and college, I read from the age of enlightenment thinkers, right? So people like John Locke, Adam Smith, Immanuel Kant, David Hume, and others. And while these people had some insightful and relevant ideas to our world today, they were not enlightened in the true sense of the word. So, enlightenment refers not to a type of thinking and intellectualizing, but rather it's a state of being. It's having an expanded state of awareness that comes through feeling and being connected to our heart center, being connected more deeply to our breath,
Mm-hmm.
being able to feel and to really delve into our own soul and using that perspective to connect with others in a heart-centered way rather than in a purely head-centered way, right? So in our society, right, we typically connect at the intellectual level, right? Like
Yes, because we think the brain's controlling everything. Yes.
right. Yeah. So we've been programmed to connect, purely intellectually and to, debate ideas at a philosophical, intellectual level, right?
Yes.
Without having that heart connection, right? And so this is not to say that enlightenment incorporates our mental faculties, but it's more than just that. It's having this heart-centered life that guides our intellectual thinking and provides a frame of reference for connecting first and foremost to ourselves,
Yes.
and then from that to all of creation, the entire world, to other people, to plants, to animals, to nature.
Exactly. Because you'll need to tie into your own intuition too, and also think about, what you are tied into your heart and what you would like to do versus thinking logically about something going on, right?
Yes, 100%. Thank you so much for mentioning that. So a heart-centered life, an enlightened life, is one that connects to our intuition, as
Yes.
you so appropriately noted. So our intuition is the center of us. It's that knowing that comes from being aware of our different senses, right? So we
Yes.
all have and use our sensory capabilities, but when we are aware that we are using them, that's another level of awareness, another level of consciousness, right? So it's bringing more light to our situation. So it's helping us to lead an enlightened life.
Exactly. Exactly. Which leads to the next question. You know, some people are not really aware how they can become conscious, and more tied into themselves. So what do you recommend?
Yeah, no, great question. So in order to become more conscious, right? So being more conscious is a stepping stone for leading an enlightened life, right? So these two are intertwined deeply, okay?
Yes.
And so to lead a more conscious life means to lead a more aware life, right? So being more aware of our surroundings, it's being more aware of the different spectrums of light that exist, right? So like with our standard quote unquote normal vision, right? We typically only see, the colors of the rainbow,
True.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we are programmed to recognize as falling within our visual and feeling sensory capabilities. But if we can be aware of our senses and thus have an intuitive knowing, an intuitive knowledge that is that comes from being more connected to our heart, then we can discover other realms and frequencies of light, other waves, right? Like, for example, there was a time in our society where we didn't, like, if you were to ask someone in like the early 90s, what Wi-Fi is, they'd be like, huh? What's Wi-Fi, right? And a lot of people would say, I'll believe it when I see it, right?
And it's not something you can see.
You can see, but it has since permeated our collective consciousness. So now, 30 plus years later, collectively, we are aware of this thing called Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
We see the effects of it. We're using it to speak currently, right?
Very true.
So even though we don't see it, we've recognized it as a part of our collective consciousness. The same with radio waves and radio frequencies, right?
Yes.
So there was a time where people didn't believe that existed, but then radio waves were invented, were discovered, right? I should say discovered, right? Because it always existed, but we just discovered the capabilities of it. And so with consciousness, it's becoming more aware of these different realms. And like you referenced, one of those realms is our intuitive guidance that is so connected to our senses. It's a very efficient way of knowing. It's a very efficient way of leading our lives rather than having to weigh the pros and cons of every single decision that we make and go through different charts or algorithms and things. When we can listen to our intuition, we can sift through the fog and follow what is right and valuable and nourishing for our soul, for our life in that particular time. And this comes from being more centered in our heart rather than having all our energy come up all the way into our mental faculties.
Yeah, and also centering your heart or your emotions, right?
Yeah.
So, and your emotions have vibrational energy too. So, like I said at the beginning, low vibrational energies like frustration, doubt, shame, and fear really slows people down. Now, fear will put you into, a reactive mode just for protection. Your adrenals will go into high gear. But the problem is when you're in fear and you're in anger and when you're in, doubt, you're not thinking as clearly as you can be. So that's why you need to go back into your heart, right?
Yes, 100%. There are times where it is helpful for us to have fear, right? Like, for example, if our life is actually in physical danger, right? So at that point, that's where fear is valuable, right? But what's happened over time due to traumas that we've experienced and that have not been healed, we over exaggerate a lot of our life circumstances that put us in this fear mode. And when we're in fear, we're contracted. Our state of being is contracted. And so it's in this protection mode. And
Exactly.
so there are, like I referenced, there are specific times where it's good to be in that mode where we need to actually protect ourselves. But most of the situations that we face where we get into that mode are not necessary for us to respond in such a manner. If we were to hold an expanded and open being during a lot of these, awkward, tense situations, conversations that we don't want to have with someone, but if we could approach these with openness, then the the situation can much more easily be dissolved,
And
healed,
resolve. Yeah.
and exactly.
Well, it's better to be more proactive than reactive, because reactive just means you're still on that emotion of fear. And like you said, the protective mechanism of the adrenaline. So, for instance, if a baby's trapped underneath something and you need to get that baby out, a mother is known to be able to lift up a car in order to get that baby out, to protect their child. So that's important. And, but we're not living in a land of saber-toothed tigers anymore, in caveman time.
Exactly.
Exactly. And that's what you're saying. And sometimes just looking for a resolution that works for everybody or works for that particular situation, that time, and being proactive about it and just putting your emotions to the side, it would be a better solution overall.
Most definitely.
And people, it's a learning process. It's not something that comes naturally unless you are in tune to your intuition and your heart, like you were saying before.
Definitely. Yeah. And to that point, which you so eloquently illustrated, ways for us to connect more deeply to our intuition and to lead a more conscious life. One of the most important ones, if not the most important, is to be more deeply connected to our breath. Right?
Exactly.
There are so many different wonderful meditations that are based in conscious breath, like different ways that we can channel our breath in order to expand our awareness, right? So the breath is the substance that connects the physical to the spiritual.
Yes.
It's vital to our lives. And the more that we connect to it, the more that we are able to lead a conscious and enlightened life, right? So
Yes.
some spiritual sages have said, the more one is connected to one's breath and aware of one's breath, the more conscious and enlightened a person is.
Yes.
And so breath exercises, both in a concentrated meditation format and also in a format or in a setting where we're just going about our day to day and just taking as many moments as we can to really feel into our breath.
Yes.
These are great ways for us to expand consciousness, as are tools such as journaling, reflecting on our feelings, really getting them on paper, looking at them, and also doing the same with dreams. Dreams
Yes.
are a very powerful tool that give us guidance and awareness from what's happening in our unconscious. And the more that we can be aware of those, the more insight we have into how we behave in a unconscious way, like when we're not thinking about things. Like, we may often consciously say we want to do one thing, but we find that we end up doing something else. It's like, gosh, I wanted to do X, but I ended up doing Y. Well, why did that happen? Well, a lot of it's related to our unconscious programming, and dreams help bring out that unconscious programming so we can look at it, be aware of it, and then for patterns that we're not happy about, we can transform them.
Yes. And I found that breathing slows down your thoughts too. And probably with all this, better breathing, deep diaphragmatic breathing, you're probably going to get better dreams and be able to sleep better. Don't you agree?
Yeah. So you definitely be able to sleep better, and your dreams can be more, you can be more aware of your dreams by having a deeper connection to your breath. And the more aware of our dreams that we are, then the more that we're able to use them to transform. So a lot of times we have this pattern that is frustrating us, but until it comes out in a dream that may not feel very good, we're not going to be able to transform it. It's not the case for everyone, but I've seen this play out a number of times where once that dream is, we've become aware of it, we're conscious of it. And even though it's distasteful, it's like, oh, this person was there and I did this and I can't believe I did that, but I did. Just being aware of that, right? It helps us then to bring it out of the shadows. And then when we can be aware of it, then we can transform it. There are tools that we can use to go into that dream state and transform that pattern at the unconscious level. Then, when we get put in a similar situation in the future, we will choose to respond differently.
True. And some people don't dream because they're not getting the correct non-REM and REM stages, and they do cycle several times a night. They get longer as the night goes on, but sometimes people get broken sleep. And it's really important to not only to meditate and to eat right, but there's also some products out there that are natural that helps you get into that dream state, and the good non-REM state, which is what you start off with, and then it goes into REM. And it's interesting that the I think it's the third stage of non-REM is when a dreaming can start and then goes into the REM stage. And there's ways that you can do that. I have some solutions for that that has been very beneficial for me. But also, our society is just not eating a clean diet, and we are using a lot of synthetic chemicals with prescriptions, and that doesn't help very much. I think there's a better natural approach to life, and meditating, finding, being in tune to your body and what you think you need, really, as well as also being attentive to your thoughts. Women have more thoughts than men. I think it was like 80,000 thoughts a day, and 60,000 for men. And it's interesting that we do that, but maybe because it's the way women communicate differently than men as well. And that might be why.
Yeah, it cut out for me for a little bit there. But yes, definitely women communicate differently than men. So women are more in touch, generally, not always, but generally they're more in touch with the feminine aspects of communication, of being, exuding those qualities, things like compassion, things like feeling, right? Whereas men are generally more connected to having, really focused on the cognitive and looking for the cognitive way of doing things, and really having a sense of discernment, right? Which is being able to really protect with from a boundary standpoint. Like, nope, we're not going to do that. That's a scam. Or nope, I don't get a good feeling. Guy, we're not going to talk to them, right? So men are generally more prominent in those types of attributes, and women are generally more prominent in the ones that I alluded to earlier. But it's important for us to be able to really incorporate both in order to really maximize our human potential, really exude those beautiful, inspiring, some would say divine attributes, to really shine forth our humanity as brilliantly as possible.
Yeah, so we need the yin of the yang, so to speak, to have both of, the female and
Yes.
male. And you're kind of frozen for me. Well, I don't know who you're listening to right now, but it's important that we have both parts of the female and male essences in our soul. Oh, we lost him, and I hope you come back, because it's going to help us be a more even-keeled personality, and controlling those emotions. Like I said before, the high vibrational emotions are joy, love, and peace, where the low ones are fear, frustration, and anger. And we need to transform our lives for the better by keying into our heart and our intuition, as Sohail did mention earlier. And what I'm going to say now, because I'm going to keep on talking. I hope he comes back. But he actually was part of that Science of Consciousness conference in Arizona and Tucson, where he did talk about meditation. And meditation is so important, not only to slow down your thoughts, but it's also tuning you into your intuition, as he said, and also you're growing as you're growing during meditation. Now, a lot of people get frustrated with meditation because they are not patient. Be patient. You can start with 10 minutes at a time, and you can grow upon that experience. And with the breathing, there's many different breathing methods. I've been teaching you guys the box breathing method, where you breathe in for 5, you hold for 5, you exhale for 5, and then you hold for 5, and you repeat that process. But some people have teaching me different things. There's way where you can breathe. There's a acupressurist that taught me how to breathe, and with using my fingers, and because it helps with different parts of your body. So pretty much thumb is worry. So if you hold down to your thumb and you breathe in once and exhale and breathe again and exhale, and then you go to your next finger, which is the ring finger, and do the exact same thing. And exhale and exhale, and then you go to your next finger, which actually is associated with anger. Which it's interesting how people do the bird when they're angry. So we're going to breathe in and release and release. And when you're cupping your finger, you're not holding on to it tight. And then you go to your next finger. And the way I remember the pinky is your overthinker. If you think about the 3 little pigs and the last pinky is going way, way all the way home. It needs to be a little bit more relaxed. You need to breathe in, cupping your finger, and release. And release again. And it looks like Sohail is trying to get back into the studio, which is fantastic. But anyways, those are some breathing techniques you can do to relax you, to open you up, to help you feel better, slow down your thoughts, and be more in tune to your intuition and be in your heart space. So I was just going through some breathing techniques. I told them about how you were at the science of some the conference that you were at.
Yeah, the science.
And that you were talking about meditation. Now, another thing you were talking about was global spiritual practices too.
Yeah. So a lot of times people think that in order to become more conscious and be connected to spirituality, that they have to follow one particular religious tradition or spiritual tradition in order to do so. However, there are many, many great tools and techniques available from a whole plethora of different religious and spiritual traditions that we can tap into in order to see which one resonates most with us, right? Like, for example, some people may be more comfortable in a particular religious based spiritual tradition, while others prefer something that is detached completely from any sort of religious language. It doesn't matter. What matters is the practice of connecting to our own soul. And these spiritual practices that emanate from different traditions, different spiritual traditions around the world, some of them using religious language, they help us, the ones that are most effective are ones that help us connect to our own soul, right? There's
Yeah.
a wise saying that says that one who lovingly knows oneself lovingly knows one's God. And so it puts the emphasis not on connecting to a being out there, whether it's like an old man in the sky or, someone standing with a lot of power, but rather the important thing is connecting to our own heart and soul, our own being. And when we can deeply connect to our own being, then we are tapping into our divinity.
Exactly. And, I don't want to be disrespectful, but whatever label is used for your belief, having faith in a being or the universe or whatever you believe in is so important, because it's interesting how a life can change, a pathway can change only because something happened in your life and you got redirected. And you can get redirected due to what's going on with your soul, in my opinion, wanting to do something else to be more beneficial for you. I mean, as soon as I started, really, really releasing this doubt I had, is when the floodgates opened up. I started my podcast, and all these guests were coming in for my show, and I was, I was a nervous cat in the first few episodes I did. But as time went on, I started getting comfortable. It's becoming more fun, and even though we lost you for a little bit, I just said, I hope he's coming back, and I went on with meditation ideas and other things. So that's my whole point is, I show some different breathing techniques and some things I've learned from an acupressurist, and her name is Deborah Myers, just so you know, Sohail. And, but my whole point is, whatever you do to calm yourself, to get back into your center of your heart and your intuition, it's better than thinking through your brain.
Yes.
Because sometimes that brain can get really clouded with those emotions that kind of just cloud it all up.
Definitely. Yeah. And this is, again, just to emphasize, this is not to say that we don't want to use our brains and our thinking capacity. No, we need our brain. We need our thinking capacity. But what's important is for our brain and our thinking to take its cues from our heart, to take its cues from our intuition, which is connected to our senses, right?
Yes.
So in ancient Greek philosophy, the Age of Enlightenment thinkers that I mentioned from the 17th and 18th centuries, they were all based in the notion of humanity that was founded by Aristotle. And so Aristotle is of the belief that man, or human beings, he said man is a rational animal. And so for Aristotle, the epitome of being human is using our rational faculties, right? So, however, the founders of ancient Greek philosophy, who predated Aristotle, who predated Plato, who even predated Socrates, namely Parmenides and Empedocles, they saw and experienced and taught that man, or human beings, are more profoundly connected to their sensory faculties. And the more that we can be in touch with our senses and our sensations, the more that we can live from an intuitive place and lead a more magical, miraculous, beautiful, and inspiring life.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. But you got to be aware of what's going on. You got to, sense it visually, smell it, feel it, and
Yes.
also audio. There's a lot of audios will calm down your mind as well. And then there's a lot of, lights can either irritate you or they can, calm you down depending on how you have your lighting at night. So, and whenever, I don't eat cookies anymore, but when I was younger, the smell of cookies it reminds you of childhood. So that brings back a memory, right?
Yeah.
And music can bring back a memory too. I was talking to somebody else about music in one of my episodes and how it brought back a memory that I shared with somebody that was in a coma.
Oh, wow.
And he got out of the coma temporarily and he was mouthing, "I'm okay." But my whole point is, I know, it just threw me for a loop when that happened. But I was so excited about it. But my whole point is that with life, you just need to pay attention to what's going around you. And there's so many signals coming at us as humans that we really need to stop and think about, what does this mean?
Yeah, really reflecting on our experiences and taking a moment to ponder and to hold a space for what happens in our lives. This allows for us to really bring in that experience into our being. And so then we can respond to situations rather than simply react from a fear-based position, which is only going to make matters worse, both for us and for others. But
Yes.
rather when we can hold a space and come at things from a loving standpoint.
Yes.
Love is so important. It's the foundation of having healthy, vibrant lives, healthy, vibrant connections. And this is not necessarily a romantic love. So love is so important in all of our relations, having that sense of compassion, connectedness, empathy, right? All of these emanate from love. And so I mentioned that Aristotle said man is a rational animal. Rumi said man is a loving animal. And so it's the quality of love that distinguishes us and allows us to really fulfill our human potential. So the degree to which we can love is the degree to which we can live and manifest our human potential. So this is how Rumi saw things, and he was a big inspiration of mine, and one of the main reasons that I taught a class at the California Institute for Human Science about his teachings.
Yeah, and that's one of your offers today, isn't it?
Yeah. So on my website, sacredpowermedicine.com, so for those who are interested, my Rumi class that was taught at CIHS is available for purchase. All of the video courses, all of the class sessions are available there, along with the course syllabus. And we really delve into the teachings of Rumi, who is the best-selling poet in the US in the 21st century. We really delve into his stories to really understand at a heart-based level what he's teaching, to really connect with the symbolism, the imagery, the context. A lot of Rumi's teachings, his poetry, is not very well understood, or not even very well explored. And so one of the things that I did in this class is to really give people exposure both to his teachings in the Masnavi, which is his teaching book, but also his ecstatic love poetry, which was collected in the Divan of Shams. And so in the class, we go through both of his masterpieces.
Okay.
We also have some Persian language recitation in the original of some of his poetry, which is really nourishing and beautiful to hear as well.
And I noticed that your promo also includes some individual sessions. Do you want to briefly talk about that?
Sure, yeah. So I do transformational healing sessions on a one-on-one basis, and I also do it with couples. And so for anyone who reaches out to me from my website, sacredpowermedicine.com, and mentions the Debbie Changes Lives podcast, I am offering a 50% off discount for our first session. And I am also making available a discount on a package of 4 sessions, should anyone be interested in having some longer term work together. Because a lot of what we're talking about in relation to consciousness and enlightenment and healing traumas are things that require time. They require our focused energy in order to be able to get to the root of matters. And so really allocating more focused time for that over an extended period of time is going to be very beneficial for us to be able to heal those wounds so that we can live a more fulfilling, nourishing, and inspiring life.
True. Well, that's a wonderful offer, Sohail, and I really appreciate it. And you go to his site, which is sacredpowermedicine.com/shop to see all this. And would you like to be a guest again?
It would be an honor. I really enjoyed being here with you. Thank you so much. I would love to.
Okay. Please stick around because we may have some time for closing remarks, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay. Now remember, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. I guide you to correct your gut, as that will give you mental clarity. And I also guide you to clean toxic-free foods and high-quality nutritional products that will reduce symptoms. You'll feel better, and possibly release weight, and it'll uplift your mood. With my mindset coaching, I help you release that stress, reduce emotions and entanglements from the past. And yes, it takes time to heal. As well as with my health and weight release, I'm making your body more efficient. So ask me about my programs at my complimentary consultation button, Debbie Changes Lives, which is DebiChangesLives, as in Victory, ES.com/Linktree, LINKTREE. And when you do that, you get to know me, I get to know you, and I'll guide you to your optimal health. And it begins with 1 or 2 assessments. One is the health evaluation, which is complimentary, which is on the next slide, where you're going to rate your systems in the next 30 days in 4 categories of health. Some questions are repeated. Please answer them all, and you'll get a health score. I'll review it with you. And if you move forward with my services, we'll be going through this process of monitoring your progress with the health evaluation, and will give you that custom natural holistic strategy. I also have something called the Zyto link, which is on the next slide, and it's one of my body Zyto scans. This one I like doing because it's remote. I can do it internationally. Actually, sent one to South Africa. Zyto link is a transdermal optical imaging app that I share a link to your phone. You scan your face for 30 seconds. It's only looking at blood flow for components of emotional, functional, and energetic, and different body systems and lifestyles. It generates a wellness report, not a diagnosis, of biomarkers out of range and products and services that bring back into range. It is quite intensive, so I do review it with you. It costs $50. If you move forward with any of my programs and products, I give you a $25 discount on one of them. Zyto link does use the transdermal optical imaging, also known as TOI, and it's very accurate. You can look it up on pubmed.gov for more information on how accurate it is. And I also give you a package of 5 scans for the price of 4, saving you $50. People are really amazed what their body tells them through the scan, and you'll be too. Give it a go. Try one and see what it's like. Also on the site are my programs. Take Your Body Back is a 12-week weight release program with mindset coaching, and you'll be using a new version of you in an avatar for your success. All coaching is done on Zoom, and the first one is private to you. I go over your health. I also give you a choice between 2 programs, and then I give you directions on one. You also will get the instructions how to create that new version of you in an avatar board that will drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformation throughout your journey. The rest of the sessions, whether it's private or group, will be celebrating your wins, and I'll guide you over gas with health and mindset tips. You will become a new you. You can ask me questions at this consultation or watch my previous episode, Holistic Self-Love, on the show button of my link tree. Why Fast is an intermittent fasting program that gets your body and cells humming and in turn boosts your metabolism with rich, dense nutrition and high-quality essential nutrients with exercise and recipes. Here you would ask me questions, and I want to remind you that any intermittent fasting program is going to help repair your cells, give you mental clarity, and bring down inflammation. So if you feel you can't do this by yourself, there are some smaller programs or 2 or 4 week programs to get you started. And I'm more than happy to help you throughout the whole journey if you need it. And also, I also offer mindset and health optimization coaching in smaller programs or larger programs. I also create custom programs too. Now, for a limited time, I'm offering Debi's Coaching Chats, which is a complimentary coaching service that's 30 minutes long in a minute group setting. It's not recorded. A survey will pick a topic. You will learn how to optimize your health, ways to release stress and emotions, efficiently release weight, how to harmonize your hormones or body balance, creating a winning mindset. Utilize that winning mindset for health and weight transformation, and also creating that avatar board that will drive you with motion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformation goals throughout the journey. This is on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And you need to go to Debi Changes Lives, which is DebiChangesLives, as in Victor, ES.com. But this time, /chats, CHTS. And you'll learn what my coaching is all about. Finally, learn about more about alternative health programs, products, services, upcoming shows, promos, and events by subscribing to my newsletter at DebiChangesLives.com/radio TV show, all in lowercase, is one word. And I'll give you a gift of a 30-day health and mindset daily action journal where you record your gratitudes, feelings and emotions, as well as the foods you ate, the water you drank, the nutritional products you took, and the exercise you did on a daily basis. You can even track your measurements. You want to review it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to see your wins and celebrate them, and see your gaps to work on. If you need help bridging your gaps, you contact me for coaching. This tool is a great health and mindset awareness tool. I'm certain that you found this show educational, enlightening, and enjoyed it. Reach out to me for my programs, products, and services, and reach out to Sohail for his generous offers, especially on the mystical path of Rumi. Do we have time for Sohail to come back? There you go. Do you have anything for closing remarks? Can you say something? Are you muted?
It's truly been an honor to be here. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's truly been an honor to be here, and I really would encourage all of us to really honor those heart tugs that we feel throughout the day and to really listen to them. It's like this is our heart and soul speaking to us, giving us guidance from all of our senses, and just really take it in and honor it, because these guidances that we get on a daily basis, these are the signposts for us to live a nourishing, fulfilling, and inspiring life.
Lovely. I love that. Okay. I have to close out now. So continue to enjoy my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives, at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where your holistic journey begins.